Has anyone had any experiences with other students or friends that have had problems at UCLan?
In the first few weeks, I came across quite a couple of students who do have issues within the first week, such as homesickness or finance issues, or it can be something really generic, like they don't like the course. But what I found is that if you don't advise them correctly or help them or delegate them to the correct service, a little issue can turn into a big issue. So it's just trying to raise that awareness with an issue and trying to signpost them to the correct service, really. Yeah.
It's really important to get people to speak out early as well, because like Kaj was saying, like if you've got one little problem that could be easily resolved but you don't bring it up, then one little problem turns into 2 and then 3 and then 4, and suddenly you just feel like you can't cope and you don't know who to turn to, and that's when students are more likely to drop out, when actually if they'd known who to talk to and disclose that in the first place, then they probably would have never got to the stage that they did.
So what type of issues do you think affect people's mental well-being? Not just at university, I guess, but like at university as well. What type of issues do you think could make someone feel mentally unwell at uni?
You can have problems at home, like relationships could fall apart, you know, you and your friends or boyfriend, girlfriend, etc. You know, there could be problems at home that you might not necessarily want to talk about at home, and it's just finding someone at uni that you could talk to, even if it's a flatmate or, you know, a service, that can make you feel better, because if you've got assignments due in and you're worried about what's going on at home, it can, you know, really get you down. So I think also being able to talk about that, you know, with friends as well is important.
We all have mental well-being issues, and it's the term that has the stigma with it.
Yeah.
Things just like assessment deadlines that cause stress, if there's finance issues, like balancing your time between different things, realising that that is an issue and that everybody has that, whether they're students or you're working for the university or anything else. It's just getting to grips with that.
Like the social side of things as well. First years, I've had a lot of students come and see me from their first year at the very start of the first semester that not getting on with their flatmates. You know, the flatmates might be going out partying all the time and they're not fitting in with that, and they don't want to go out partying all the time. You know, that sort of thing, it can bring you down a lot, and, you know, I have had students come crying about this sort of thing as well, so.
Yeah, it takes a lot more confidence to actually admit that you've made the wrong choice and actually you do need to go in a different direction and get some help than just putting your head in the sand and carrying on, because that's when you get into much more complicated problems.
That is the thing about mental well-being, is the fact that it's more difficult for people. Somehow they just seem more embarrassed about the issues that they have around it, but it's like if you've got a cold or something like that, you go to the doctors, you get it sorted, but there's some sort of stigma and something stops them.
So if you and your friends were struggling with a problem, would you know where to go at UCLan?
I think the difficulty is that there's so many different services, it's picking out the ones that are right for you. I mean, there's counselling. A lot of students don't know how to approach it and to admit that maybe counselling's the right thing, or even going once just to see what it's like and see if that is the right direction to go. Or there's the M&M mentors that you can be matched with a student of your own, you know, from your own course and everything, to speak to them too, which is a useful service to have.
There's a lot of stigma around the counselling as well, because some people come and they say, well, my problem's not bad enough to need to go to counselling, and they need to like kind of realise that there's not a benchmark on how upset you have to be to access these kind of facilities. If it's affecting you, then it's a problem that needs to be talked about.
Sorry, I think one of the biggest issues is worrying what other people are going to think of you, and being able to just say, look, I really did just need to go to speak to someone, and someone that's not my friends or family or you know, speaking to someone at home, and it's okay with that, but they don't have to deal with university stuff and, you know, swamped with dissertation stuff, but yet having to know that, you know, my mum can sort of relate to it but doesn't really understand it fully, and knowing when there's so much stress that you have to just be like, right, it's counselling or it's M&M mentors, or it's, you know, because M&M mentors is brilliant because it's a student for a student, so it's like, you know, they can relate to exactly what's going on, and I think it's that the barrier of, you know, knowing when it is to tell everybody, look, I just need some help, and it, you know, not just talking about it to my friends.
People will come and they'll be like really like, you can tell in the body they're really nervous and like apprehensive, and they like mutter it as though it's something to be ashamed of that they've got this problem. And when you actually say, oh look, I've had about 2 or 3 students this week who've experienced similar things, they've got the same mental health problem that you have, and you can just see the whole body change, like they feel relieved, like really I'm not the only person in this position. And sometimes you really need to get people to speak out, because the more people who do, the more people you know that are experiencing the same thing, and suddenly it doesn't seem quite as big a problem.
Well, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today. But if you want to learn more about what Headroom can offer you, or discuss anything with them, you can reach them at www.uclansu.co.uk/Headroom. Thank you for attending everyone, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.